Mercedes-Benz E-Class, a long-time luxury staple for real estate agents and lawyers alike. For 2021, the exterior styling of the car has been refreshed. So as you can see, the overall look of the car and the overall shape is very familiar. Of course, the headlights have been redesigned. Even more notably, the taillights now have a very modern Mercedes-Benz look, or I should say at least they follow the design language of the CLA, the new S-Class, and they have a new shape and style to them. Some say that this new Mercedes-Benz styling is a little bit avant-garde, if you will, and shies away a bit from the classic Mercedes-Benz styling of at least the last 10 or so years. But I'm actually happy to see Mercedes-Benz kind of reimagining what a little bit of their look could be and changing things up. You know, I think for better or for worse, Mercedes-Benz has progressed. Now, styling is subjective, but objectively, you get quite a few niceties in this car, such as those LED headlamps that I already discussed. But what I really, really like about this car and what I really enjoy while I'm in it is how comfortable it is. This is all about luxury. So you get couch-like front seats and a whole lot of impressive tech. The cabin definitely feels like 2021, and the steering wheel has haptic feedback buttons, which add to that updated cabin feel. However, 18 buttons is way too many, and the shallow lip between each button makes using them a bit more complicated than I like. The haptic itself is definitely a nice touch, though, I gotta admit. I also have to note that the climate control switches are way too far from the respective screen outputs, about 6 inches, and this really doesn't allow for a safe or intuitive climate control adjustment while driving. Speaking of safety, this car's optional premium package gives you a beautiful surround view camera system and a parking assistant, so this car can be pretty easy to park despite its legitimately mid-sized dimensions. Rounding out the interior is an optional and worthy Burmester audio system and Mercedes' patented 64-color interior ambient lighting system. Moving on to the powertrain, this E350 is powered by a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder producing 255 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque, all driven through a 9-speed automatic into the rear wheels. So while driving this car, I'm not only presented with an incredibly luxurious cabin, but also with a very comfortable ride. This car is more akin to, say, the character and ride of an S-Class than a C-Class, and I'm sure that's very welcome to said lawyers, doctors, real estate agents who are buying this car, meaning that you're getting a lot of bang for buck in the sense of luxury when you get into an E-Class. Now, this is the E350, so that's the base model 4-cylinder turbo. Obviously, you have an E450, an E53, and even an E63 to work your way up to if performance matters more to you. Of course, in this base car, it is just not at all about performance. You do have some drive modes. You can throw the car into sport, and you certainly can enjoy a bit of a more spirited drive, but this is definitely not a sporty car, and I'm 100% okay with that. So what it's all about is being comfortable, being luxurious, and it really emphasizes comfort. So I have it in comfort mode right now, of course, obviously. And as I'm just cruising around, putting around, if you will, it's just so effortless. I can practically drive with a finger, and I will admit, actually, this Mercedes-Benz steering is a little better than I remember from the previous generation E-Class. So that's actually a really, really pleasant surprise and addition, but the chassis is stable, the car, it's supple. I think it would have benefited from air body control, which is an option on this car. I think it runs for about $2,000, $1,900 for air body control. It's an incredibly soothing experience to drive this car, and I find myself not even looking at the speed or the tach or anything because I don't need to. You know, I'm not pushing the car. I know I'm well within the speed limit. I'm just focusing on driving and cruising along. It's very, very cathartic, if you will, and I usually like driving fast, but right now, I don't know, there's just something so nice about sitting in these incredibly comfortable couch-like seats, driving so comfortably and so easily. This is what luxury is all about. This is that feeling that you've made it. Now, I will admit, of course there's an S-Class, of course there's other cars in the lineup that are even nicer, but my main point is that this is at least nice enough. I didn't feel this way in a C-Class, and that's no offense to the C-Class, but this finally feels like what a Mercedes is supposed to feel like. Again, this feels more akin to the top of the range than it does to the bottom of the range, and I guess that makes sense now that it's not really squarely in the middle anymore. You have not only the C-Class, but you have an A-Class, a CLA, you got some other cars in the mix that I guess allow this car to be positioned a little bit higher up the range. And with that said, I'm also pleasantly surprised by how affordable it is. This car with a couple nice options, looking pretty sporty, just a touch over 60 grand. Now again, Granted, that is the lowest motor available, but still not a bad value proposition when you consider this is a luxury, comfortable, and higher end vehicle. The price really suits it quite nicely. While I'm just cruising around enjoying this drive, I want you guys to guess how many tall boys this car can fit. I think the regular C-Class sedan fit 18, and I want to say the coupe fit 21 somehow, just to give you guys a little hint. So you guys make some guesses down in the comments below, and without further ado, here's a tall boy test. So this car gets a bunch of brand new tech. So what you get is this brand new MBUX system. It's both touchscreen and it has one of these little touch pads. I mean, I usually like touch pads, but in this case, it's a little finicky, and I'd rather use a touchscreen. So while I have to give credit where credit is due to the MBUX system, the digital dash, if you will, the actual cluster in front of you or the screen in front of you, is super customizable. I never realized it was as customizable as it is. Not only do you have 4 different preset styles and you can change the entire look, but on top of that, you can actually go into each gauge on the left and the right and in a modular way switch what you see. So you have a ton of customizability, and I think that really suits, again, this car really well. In a performance car, I like things to be a bit more simple. I prefer just a nice tach and a speedo or a speedometer, digital speed, whatever you get. I really rather have a tach and a digital speed readout. I'm really focused on that when I'm driving a performance-oriented car, trying to watch the revs, trying to actually watch my speed a bit as well. In this car, again, I don't care. I don't need to look at that. I could have whatever I want. I could have a clock showing instead, and that's quite nice when you consider what this car is all about. Loftiness, putting around, maybe going to the country club, maybe going for a nice dinner. I don't know. Things I'm not doing currently, but it's really all about luxury and comfort, and it fits that so nicely. Now, if you want a sportier car, there's endless options out there. I'm not one to deny how much sporty cars are fun, but there's also a beauty to a car like this, especially for somebody who potentially maybe already has a sportier car and wants a luxurious and reasonable commuter. This really fits the bill nicely. I quite like it, and I gotta admit, compared to its competition, cars such as the BMW 5 Series and the Audi A6, this is a tremendous value proposition. I'm not saying those cars are more or less expensive by a large margin, because they're not. They're all in the similar price range. It's just that I didn't think at 61,000 bucks this would be so nice. I've always kind of believed that you need to option up Mercedes-Benz's, 15, 20, sometimes $30,000 in options to really make them nice. Base C63 doesn't really hold water to loaded up C63S. And again, in this car, that doesn't seem to be the case. The body seems to have some sort of AMG line standard, which otherwise seemed to be an option in the past. So you can actually, on top of it, get another AMG line package, which gives you sportier brakes and nicer wheels. But other than that, the body is the body. This particular car has the blacked out AMG line pack that gives you blacked out mirrors, blacked out trim, and these interesting looking 19-inch wheels. Gotta admit that they have this weird rim around them that kind of looks like some sort of protection for transit was left on. It's not my absolute favorite, although I will admit it looks very similar to the wheels found in the E53, so it helps this base E350 look very similar to a nearly $100,000 E53. So that's a nice little touch. Nonetheless, it's nice that the car comes with a pretty attractive body kit on it, and I'm just overall very impressed with this car. The tech is there, the look is there, the luxury is there. The price is reasonable, so it's a good value proposition, especially for someone who's looking to lease. I'm sure there are good deals to be had on these, and it's just a pretty impressive car. And if you're a lawyer or a doctor and you're looking to get an E-Class, you got my stamp of approval. All jokes aside, this is really a fantastic car. And the one thing that surprised me the most, aside from the price, was just how much I enjoy sitting in this car and driving. And again, usually I gotta drive a little fast or in a sporty setting to feel like I'm getting my pure and most full enjoyment out of a driving experience. And this is giving it to me at much lower speeds with much less effort. So kudos to Mercedes-Benz. This is a fantastic car. 2021 Mercedes-Benz E-Class is a killer. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, and if you don't mind, subscribe. It definitely helps the channel out. I appreciate you guys all for watching. As always, this is Rio. Peace.